this is a question that's very important to me. I have a son who is in Central Middle School this year, and my husband and I had, especially because this was his first year at Central Middle School, had some very deep discussions at the beginning of the school year. Is that really where we want him to be? Do we feel like the quality of the building, and do we feel like the air quality? And I was convinced that the board took the right step there. But I think it's very important that we address the facilities. I think Washington and Central are two of the biggest issues. I agree with what the other candidates have said about Millstream, so I won't go into that. I would just say I agree with what they've said. If we want to stop going back to the same taxpayers and asking for more money, what we need to do is continue the development of the city and continue to bring people into Findlay. And I think that when businesses and individual professionals are looking to come to a town like Findlay, that the schools are very important. And my husband and I moved to Findlay. Our children were very young, so our focus was on the elementary schools and the primary schools. And we were very satisfied with what we've seen. But my husband's a physician here in town, and I know that, and Barb knows as well, that it's very difficult to recruit new physicians to come to the city of Findlay. It's a smaller town, and we have to show these people that we are trying to bring into the city of Findlay with businesses that we value our children, and that we have a beautiful hospital, and I wouldn't have it any other way. We have a lot of other. We've got a park being built, a field of dreams. Let's not leave our children behind. And there's a difference between saying that the building is stable and it will withstand another 50 to 100 years, and saying that a building is adequate for the needs of our children when it comes to wiring them for technology. You can't just take a regular drill bit and drill through these cement walls in Central. And I think that if we want to prevent going back to the same people and asking for more money, what we need to do is we need to broaden the base of taxpayers and businesses that are paying taxes, and we have to address these issues.
If I could just echo what Ann just said, the right type of economic growth cures a lot of ills, bringing in tax dollars while not adding children, which cost money to educate. A good example of the right type is industrial-based, commercial-based, because those add tax base but no children, more tax dollars to children that are already here. But going back to facility, I guess my idea, my plan also centers around Millstream. I would like to see Millstream consolidated under one roof. I would make gestures to our good friends out at Owens and to see if some strategic partnership couldn't be added. And that's twofold. One, it does consolidate the facility under one roof. And secondly, a lot of kids, I know I did too, there's fear, doubt, and trepidation about going to the next level. And just a high school degree, I mean, getting your high school degree is okay, helps you along, but getting 2 more years, getting an associate's degree, and if those children are already at the Owens campus and they're familiar and they feel comfortable on that campus, it's easy for them just to slip in for 2 more years of education, and what a productive 2 years it could be. Secondly, and as many have mentioned, freeing up the other buildings gives the opportunity to offer one of the other facilities to the Washington. And there's going to be a little pain as we rearrange, but that's where we bring the director of transportation in to help us along with figuring who goes where. And then finally, going back to when we tried to pass the middle school plan and the tax levy failed, one thing I've seen in the last 3 years, I've worked with so many school boards in all parts of the state of Ohio, the one key, and it is very much incumbent upon the board, you've got to convince the people who you're asking to open up their wallet that what they're opening up their wallet for is A, a good plan, B, it makes sense, and C, they're going to see some tangible benefit, and it's going to benefit the community as a whole. Thank you.
Well, let's shift our attention for a few minutes here to standardized testing. And what can be done to ensure success on standardized tests for all students? And let's start with Ann.
This is a very interesting question because I know that the state and federal government hold us up to certain standards that we have to attempt to achieve. And I have, many of my views are a little out of the box and radical, and I think to say, what are we going to do to make sure that every single child can pass the test is very difficult. It's like having 0% unemployment. We have to look at each particular child and say, how are we going to make the child want to be involved? We can't force children into this testing procedure and tell them and expect every child who is, and there's so many different levels of children, and you know that because you're coming from a standpoint where you're looking at a group of people who have gifted children. And but I think it's a flawed system. I don't know how it can be fixed, but I hesitate to attempt to find a solution that fits 100% of the children into one particular test. And it's just one of those questions that I think needs a lot of research. So I'm just not sure how that can be achieved.
Standardized testing is not going away. Our checkbook is tied to that through the state of Ohio and the federal government. It's a fact of life. Since I've been on the board, we've probably had at least 4 different measurements. In our report card from the state of Ohio, there were 19 requirements, 23. I think we're up to 30 now. So unfortunately, everything's changing. The rules change constantly. But again, the rules change and it affects our checkbook. With that being said, though, to ensure some of the students' success, I think we're doing this here very well at Findlay City Schools. We are an effective school district. Over the last probably 4 to 5 years, we have modeled our curriculum based on the test. Is that teaching to the test? You can argue that, but we do have curriculum directors that are modeling our classroom teaching and textbooks, not textbooks, but classrooms to the test. We probably need more teachers' instruction time, but that's a whole probably different issue as well. But trying to get the students in front of the teachers for a longer period of time, I think is important. Obviously, we're doing that with our math curriculum right now. In the middle school, they're going to adopt double block section. Math is one of the subject matters that needs to have greater attention made to. Also, we're doing intervention programs. Again, if you do not pass a particular section of a test, 4th grade, 5th grade, whatever that is, we do offer intervention programs during the summer and also during the school days and after school. We need to stress the importance of getting those students involved, acknowledging who they are, and helping them out and giving them more time with teacher instruction.